Kendrick has music that goes back that is just chef's kiss. N95 off Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was a song that went really viral. I think it was just like, oh, Kendrick's back. But there is so much nuance in that song and so much commentary. I wanted to revisit that song and go through lyric by lyric on that song. N95 is a song that I think really, I hope and I think that people are listening to it, but I don't know how deeply it is. I think N95 is questioning all of us to look into our souls, to look into what matters, to look into the society and what is happening around us, to stand on the truth. N95 is ultimately about society and how we are headed in the wrong direction, and how a lot of us are fake and phony and hiding all of our vulnerabilities, covering up ourselves and living with a mask. So let's get into N95 and go through it lyric by lyric. And if anyone has any breakdowns, feel free to put it in your comments. Any of your thoughts, I want you to tell me what you think certain lines mean, because this song and the lines go really deep. Kendrick starts off N95 with, "Hello, new world, all the boys and girls, I got some true stories to tell. You're back outside, but they still lied. Whoa, yeah." And so this intro, one, if you remember, this is after the whole pandemic, right? Kind of like when things sort of kind of came back to normal, and seems to be hinting that there was a lot of fake news and fear mongering going on in that time. And now we're back, but there's so many hidden lies that we aren't exposed to or that we didn't really discover. Now, I'm not going to get all into that, but ultimately you could take this into so many different things, that the media in general perpetuates so many things and puts certain things into light that covers up the truth behind what is actually going on. And I think that's what he's trying to hint at. Also, this reminds me of a Slick Rick song called A Children's Story, where Slick Rick starts off by saying, "Uncle Ricky, would you read us a bedtime story, please?" So it's almost like Kendrick wants to tell us a story, and he's about to tell us everything in this perspective. So he goes on to say, "Take off the foo-foo, take off the cloud chase, take off the Wi-Fi, take off the money phone, take off the car loan, take off the flex and the white lies, take off the weird-ass jewelry. I'm going to take 10 steps, then I'm going to take off top 5. Starting off the song with "take off this, take off that, take this off, the foo-foo, the fake, the clout chase, the going around for things, the Wi-Fi." The Wi-Fi is interesting because the Wi-Fi is another thing he used against Drake. To me, the Wi-Fi is just something that we all know, are the internet Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi is something that's invisible that we use to access the world and to get into things that is so distant from us. So another way of trying to be fake. And I know he said this in the 616 LA. He said to Drake, "You playing dirty with propaganda, it blow up on you. You're playing nerdy with Zach Bia and Twitter bots, but your reality can't hide behind Wi-Fi." So another word, I love that word Wi-Fi. It's almost like that cover up. I'm sitting behind the internet. I'm on my phone and you can't see me. I'm covered. I could act. That's what that means. Take off the money phone. Take off the car loan, right? All the rappers. And this can relate to all of us too, not just rappers. The loans that we get because we can't really afford all the materialistic things we show off. Like, we brag in America about all the stuff we have, but we don't own nothing, right? The house, we don't own it. The bank owns it. The car, we don't own the car. It's a car loan. So we really don't own anything that we are portraying in front of people. So Kendrick wants to tell us, okay, what happens if you were to remove all that stuff? What's left? Take off the weird jewelry. I'm going to take 10 steps, then I'm going to take off top 5. That line kind of always had me wondering. I always looked at it in the sense of, well, if he's taking 10 steps, right? Where's Kendrick's place in those 10 steps? It really depends. Let's say he says he starts at 5 or he starts at 10. I don't know, but wherever he starts, you take 10 steps, then I'm going to take off the top 5. So I thought, like, basically he's just saying, I'm ahead of everyone. I'm going to get rid of everyone. So say I start in 5, I take off 10 steps, I take off the top 5, I'm in the top 5 place. Like, basically there's no one else. Take off them fabricated streams and the microwave memes. It's a real world outside. So all of us that hide behind, right, the phone, we go on social media. We're never really outside. Almost everyone and everything is AI, is a bot. It's like we're all this really in 2025. This is actually very true. A lot of us just act like bots. Like you go on Twitter or X, what it's called, and everyone is just acting. So he's saying take off the fabricated streams. Well, one talking about the musicians here, where the street people aren't really streaming. A lot of it might be paid for streams, where someone might get 100,000 streams, 100,000 views, but that's not true views. It's paid for by the label. Take off them fabricated streams. But fabricated streams also is a nice nuanced entendre, right? For the fake and phony. Stop the fake memes. There's a real world out there. There's a lot going on outside that y'all are just sitting around commenting. Like sometimes real issues happen and you see people comment on these issues and it's like they're so detached from what's really happening. Like people seeing so much harm that is going on in these videos, but we're so detached. Take off your idols. Take off the runway. I take off the Cairo. I take off the San Tropez. 5-day stay. Take a $250,000. Hell if I know. So here Kendrick is almost like putting himself in that equation as well, saying, take off the idols. Get rid of the people that you follow. Get rid of the people you see as godlike. Take off the runway, the model runway, but then moving it into I take off, right? The actual runway in a flight. I take off to Cairo, take off to San Tropez. So I go to all these places, 5-day stay, $250,000. Hell if I know. So here I am. I'm just like y'all. I'm over here spending money. I get to escape. And who knows how much money I'm spending on all this anyway. Take off the false flag. Take off perception. Take off the cop with the eye patch. False flag. The flag here could be, right, a flag is a symbol. I think Kendrick leaves us so much room for entendres that what flag is he talking about? Is it the American flag? Is it just a symbolic flag? Anything that you see as the thing that symbolizes what your identity. Take off that fake flag. Take off the perception, right? What a great word, that the way you're being perceived, the way you're trying to be perceived, get rid of that. Who's the real you? Take off the cop with the eye patch. That is a really interesting line because what does he mean by take off the cop with the eye patch? And I thought that if we see a cop, and I don't know if there's a reference here particularly about a cop with the eye patch, but you would imagine that someone who has an eye patch can't see. If you're blind in one eye and you have an eye patch to cover that up, take off the cop with the eye patch. Take off the eye patch and the cop who's turning a blind eye to things. There's so many ways you can see that, but the cop who's wearing an eye patch might be seen as turning a blind eye to the truth of what they see. Take that off. Let's all look and see with our eyes the truth. Take off the unloyal. Take off the unsure. Take off decisions I lack. I love that line because Kendrick is showing how vulnerable he is as well. That he's saying, take off the decisions I lack. And take off to me is just a symbol of the phrase, pay attention to, overcome the decisions I lack. I sometimes can't even make decisions because I can't even get myself to act. I can't decide whether I should comment on this, whether I should stand for that, whether I should say this, whether I should do this. Stop the decisions that I lack, that I can't get myself to overcome. Take off the fake deep, take off the fake woke, take off the I'm broke, I care. Fake deep and fake woke. Now, to me, this is not a shot at real woke and real deep. This is a shot at fake deep and fake woke. That people are just portraying that they're standing for certain issues in order just to be perceived in a certain way, right? A lot of times people stand for certain issues, but then you see the truth behind what they really believe. Get rid of that fake woke, that fake deep. Don't act like you're all deep. You're not deep. Take off the I'm broke, I care. That is interesting. How I looked at it as if like, stop the fake portrayal that you care about people's plights. Take off the gossip. Take off the new logic that if I'm rich, I'm rare. Let's stop portraying that if someone just has money, that they're a unique individual, right? Because there's a lot at play. As you grow older, you realize, first of all, a lot of people have old money, not new money. And a lot of times it honestly, as you get older, you see that sometimes the money doesn't really mean anything. And that sounds crazy as you're younger, but as you get older, you realize people can make money and they don't really have any value. Just that it's an economic game, whether it's real estate, whether it's business, whatever it is. But let's stop portraying that if someone, right, has money, that we listen to that person. And there was a lot of that going on, right? People like, especially the men showing off the Lamborghinis and the fancy cars and all the women that they're with just to try to capture the attention of the youth. Oh, I'm so powerful and I'm an interesting person because look what I have. Kendrick says, stop that. Take off the Chanel, take off the Dolce, take off the Birkin bag, take all that designer bullshit off. What do you have? Huh? You ugly as you out of pocket. Two ATMs? You stepping to what? You out of pocket. Who you think they talking about? Talking about us? You out of pocket. Who they think they copy off? Copy off us? Get back in pocket. So then you hear Baby Keem's interesting hook here because Kendrick is saying, take off all the designer, take off everything that you are trying to decorate yourself with, trying to cover up yourself with. Take off the mask. What do you really look like, right? Remember Phantom of the Opera, that old play that went to Broadway? You take off that mask. What do you have when you take off everything? We're ugly, is what he said. We as human beings are questionable. Two ATMs, not one. Let's go get that cash. You stepping on what? Who are they talking about? We're the ones that they copy off of. But we're fake. We're being used to portray something that we're not, to perpetuate a false narrative, and to perpetuate materialism, to perpetuate what really doesn't matter. Keep people in a loop, keep them distracted. Even us, as we use those distractions, we are a part of the problem where it's a cycle. Then Kendrick, he picks up, right, with the speed here. The world in a panic, the women is stranded, the men on a run, the prophets abandoned, the Lord take advantage, the market is crashing, the industry wants. The world in a panic. The women is stranded, the men on a run. I like this because he's playing on historical ideology, right, of what a man is and what a woman is, that maybe a man could be a protector. I don't think he's saying necessarily that the man is and women can't take care of themselves. He's saying the women are stranded. Now, whether that's a criticism, being critical of like women not being protected anymore by men, or also just women being lost. Women, we're stranded. We're left alone. They're not being taken care of if you're a woman, right? And then the men who are supposed to be the protectors, technically, right? As we're just going off of that, the men are running away. The men are nowhere to be found, abandoning their families, whereas they should be the protectors and providers of their families. The prophets abandoned. The prophets here, meaning I think he's saying the figures that matter, like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Marcus Garvey, well, or whoever your prophets are. It doesn't really matter. I don't think it's specific. He's just saying the prophets abandoned. We have to go off this idea that women are stranded, men on the run, prophets abandoned. Things that matter, they're abandoned. The Lord took advantage. And I think he means maybe edgelords here. Maybe the fake lords are taking advantage of the people who have lost their way. The industry wants dudes and bitches to sleep in a box while they're making a mockery following us. This ain't Monopoly watching for love. This ain't monogamy. Y'all getting effed. These lines are crazy here. These lines right here are, they give me goosebumps. Dudes and bitches to sleep in a box. That's what they want. Now, to sleep in a box, what does it mean? There could be a lot here, right? There could be one, to be gone, right, in a casket, sleep in a box. They want us actually gone. Two, they want us in this box. They want us to be in the phone. They want us to be stuck in social media because social media isn't real. How can you make real life things happen if you're stuck? While they make it a mockery following us, while they make a mockery of everything that they see us like as if puppets, master of the puppets. Keep them dancing, keep them moving, keep them doing this. And they just want to follow us and pay attention to what we do so they can control. But this ain't Monopoly. Watching for love. You looking for love, it isn't there. There's no two-way street here. This is not a game. This ain't Monopoly. You watching for love? You looking for love? This ain't monogamy. Y'all getting effed. Now, when I say he's saying watching for love, like we looking for love, you think it's a two-way street. You think if we do this, we earn this, we get to keep this. I think what he's saying here is that this is not monogamy. There's no loyalty. There's no loyalty with the people of power over the people. That if we do this, we get this. Y'all are all getting that. In other words, we're just getting used. That's what he's trying to say. Jumping on what the hell is that? I gotta relax when I feel. All of my descendants, they come in my sleep and say up too real. We could take this into Kendrick's reincarnated. And I think he brings this up a lot into Pimp a Butterfly as well. All my descendants, all of the people of the past, they come in my sleep. And he's hinted at this before where he said he's seen visions of Tupac where he told him, keep going, live through me. Here, I think Kendrick now is just talking to himself, saying, you know, despite all this, I gotta overcome all this. The people in the past, they talk through me spiritually and say, I'm too real. I could do something. So I should speak up. I'm done with the sensitive, taking it personal. Done with the black and the white, the wrong and the right. You hoping for change and clericals. I know the feelings that came with the burial cries. He's saying here, I'm done with the sensitive, taking it personal. You know when you want to make a statement and you obviously in today's day and age, right? Cancel culture. You're worried about how that person will perceive it. You're worried at your workplace, how they'll perceive what you say. You're worried on Twitter. If I say this, how are they going to perceive me? If I do this, how am I going to perceive? I'm done with the sensitive, taking it personal. Done with the black and the white. I like this because I think there's a couple of entendres here. One, we could say we're talking race and culture. Two, we're talking something that is very particular. He's saying, I'm done with the black and the white. So if we start off by talking about racial issues, I'm done with the racial issues. I'm done with the divide. I'm done with playing the, I'm black, white, right? The racial game. And I know Kendrick already started off Section 80 years ago before he even became the big famous Kendrick off Section 80. The first song was called F Your Ethnicity. We're basically saying, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Black, white, this, that. Forget your ethnicity. Strip away all that. But also, I'm done with the black and the white. I'm done with what is being perceived as, oh, this is right, this is wrong, when there's so much more nuance. I'm done with what society is saying is the right and the wrong and how things are supposed to go. There's more nuance, and I need to talk about that. The wrong and the right. You hoping for change in clericals? I know the feelings that came with the burial cries. Oh, that line is deep. That's a tough one. You hoping for change and clericals? I know the feelings that came with the burial's cries. I think he's saying here that I know what is behind all this. It's much deeper and much more difficult to achieve. You're hoping that it'll be easy. You're hoping that you could get the clerical, the people to just speak on the change, and you just wish it would just happen. But the truth is, this is going to take much more devastation in order for this to become something of a reality. Then we get back to Baby Keem. You ugliest, you out of pocket. 2 ATMs, you stepping on what? You out of pot, right? We get that. I love this now, the switch up. We go serving up a look, dancing in the drought. Hello to the big step and never losing count. Venting in the safe house. Venting in the, and then he goes on, can I vent on much? And you get that alien voice. People love the joke with the alien voice. I see it as really interesting vocal modulations Kendrick does. I think it's obvious. And now we get the fast Kendrick. In the beginning, it was like he's speaking. Then we get a different modulation. Now we get this like fast modulation. Can I vent on my truth? I got nothing to lose. I got problems and pools. I can swim in my faith. Can I express? Now it's time for me to break out, right? The Kendrick that is just going to lose it here. And I'm going to say what is happening. Let me vent on my truth. I got nothing to lose. I got problems and pools. I can swim in my faith. Cameras moving. Whenever I'm moving, the family's suing whatever I make. I think he's trying to say a little bit of his own issues. Murder is stacking, the president acting, the government taxing my funds in the bank. Talking about all the issues happening. Talking about the president. Talking about the tax, how he's losing all his money. Homies attracting the feds, right? People self-snitch online and they do all these criminal acts, broadcast it live into the world. When I'm bracking, look at my reaction. My pupils on skates. My pupils on skates. I love that line, my pupils on skates, because the pupils, right, they enlarge in a dark room or they enlarge when someone is stimulated or in fear. And they get smaller when the sun's really bright. But he's saying my pupils on skates. They're moving, they're changing. They're going from fear to love to calm. They just keep moving. If you look at my reaction, that's how you could tell. Let's think about this for a second. I mean, what would you do for aesthetic? Would you sell your soul on credit, right? You hear that voice. Would you sell your soul would you sell your bro for leverage? I love that. Where the hypocrites at? What community feel they only ones relevant? So let's think about this for a second. Tell me, what would you do for aesthetic? What would you do? You be honest with me, he's saying. What would you do? Aesthetic is, the way things look. What would you do to make things look a certain way? Would you sell your soul on credit? The literal, right, the technical here is that to look good, maybe you would dress yourself up in some fancy clothes, whether that's branded clothes, whatever that may be. But a lot of times we can't afford all that. So people are spending money they don't have in order to ornament themselves, to decorate themselves with stuff to look a certain way for the aesthetic. So you're using credit to look a certain way, but then he goes as far as to say, you're selling your soul on credit. You're going beyond even just the ornaments. You're actually acting and you want to be perceived a certain way. And because of that, you're losing yourself. So you're actually selling your soul for money. Would you sell your bro for leverage? Would you be disloyal? Would you sell out your friend so that you could be perceived a certain way? And that also goes to like being a snitch. You could also look at it that way. Would you basically snitch on your friend if you both are involved in something in order for you to get saved? Where the hypocrites at? Where the hypocrites at? I love that. I love that because now he's calling all of us, everyone. I think like what people miss here is that Kendrick is not talking about something specific. I mean, he could be, but I think he's just talking about all of us, including himself. Where the hypocrites at? What community feel they're the only ones relevant? This hit for me. I don't know if people have different takes on this, but this line really, really had an impact on me because he says, what community feel they're the only ones relevant? Which community? And he says community. Who feels that their plight is the only one that matters? Which community feels that your plight is the only one that matters? Where the hypocrites at? That your plight matters and nobody else matters. That you matter and nothing else matters. Not that you're really down for the whole community. That's how I took that line. You out of pocket, yeah, you out of pocket. You entertain the mediocre, need to stop it. You entertain old friends when they toxic. What's your life like? Bullshit and gossip. Oh my God. The culmination, these lines at the end almost make me want to tear up because it's like now he's talking to you, to me, to you, the listener, to me when I hear this song. You out of pocket, yeah, you out of pocket. You're wrong. You're off. You entertain the mediocre. Need to stop it. You are celebrating things that actually aren't what they truly are. The fake, the phony, not the beauty. You're not celebrating the beauty. You're entertaining the mediocre, the mid. Things that aren't really that impactful. You need to stop it. You entertain old friends when they're toxic. You know that the old friends, and now this could also not be actual friends, could just be ideas and behaviors. You're entertaining the old stuff when you know that it's toxic, when you know that it's harmful. What's your life like? Is your life like something beautiful where you're making an impact, where you're doing the good? No, he says, what's your life like? Bullshit and gossip. I love this line. I love this line because it asks you to remember and to think about, is your life pure and innocent? And good deeds and good actions and helping each other and providing value and doing good things? Or is it about bullshit and gossip? You just bullshit and doing nothing and talking about other people, wasting time with nonsense. What the F is cancel culture, dog? Say what I want about you. I'm like Oprah, dog. He's come to the culmination of saying the truth, that we all on nothing. We don't stand on nothing. And he says, cancel. He's not asking here what's cancel culture. He's dismissing cancel culture, saying you can't cancel me. I'm not going to be worried about what I'm going to say because cancel culture is all fake. It's not real. People canceling people for not representing certain things that they actually don't even represent. What is cancel culture, dog? Say what I want about you. I'm like Oprah. I'll speak on it. I treat you crackers like I'm Jigga. Watch I own it all. I'll speak on everything. And in the end, because I spoke my truth, I'll still be held up high and esteemed. like Jay-Z. I leave Jigga here, Jay-Z. Oh, you worried about a critic? That ain't protocol. You worried about others? That's not the way this game is supposed to work. We don't worry about cancel culture. We don't worry about critic. We speak our truth. What an amazing song N95 is.